So good afternoon, I'm Chris Cooney, and I want to welcome you to another edition of our webinars hosted here at the Metro South Chamber of Commerce. We're on remote location today, but we're here to talk about technology and about working from home, like many of us are doing and getting more used to every day. There's a variety of tools that one is available to one that is considering working from home and communicating uh, both within a smaller staff and out to the larger world information that's necessary. So the Chamber is a good example of that. We're using more technology, remote technology, than we've ever used before. And I'm happy to say that we're able to do that because we've been preparing for it for a number of years, but really never tested it until recently. We're fortunate that we have an IT company that's been with us for 20 years. Wright Technology is Brockton based. It has been in business since 2004. In fact, started right in our business incubator at 60 School Street in the Chamber, and has grown and grown ever since. We're gonna have our guest here with us today in a few minutes, Howard Wright. He's the owner of Wright Technology Group, and they offer a full suite of technology services, including complete outsourced IT services, co-managed services in terms of hosting various aspects of your Outlook and your websites and that type of thing. They facilitate all of that. They have general consulting on network design, voice over internet protocols, phone systems, video surveillance, disaster recovery, business continuity, and cybersecurity. So it's just a real great, powerful bundle that can help small business and large businesses alike. Again, Howard Wright is a local person who's developed into this industry and helped a lot of small businesses grow with his level of expertise and experience, not only in the region, but in the technology that we're working in. I've met him when he came to the Chamber back in 2004, and we quickly discovered that we both had attended Suffolk University. And then shortly after, I had a chance to meet his son, Howard, or Howie, and he also went on to Suffolk and graduated and is involved in IT. So Howard, welcome. Tell us a little bit how you're doing and how's the family?
I'm doing well. The family's doing well. Howie Jr. actually works for a large company in Boston, Bain. He's in the IT field as well, and most of what he does is in the Office 365 world.
So you had a quite
well.
In the Office 365. Yeah, I remember him hanging around the office a little bit, really under your tutelage, learning the ropes, and he seems to have always looked up to you and kind of followed your footsteps into the field.
He worked for me for a while, and then he just kind of spread his wings and he flew off.
That's great. That's a nice story for parents to have, right?
Yeah.
we like to have that. He's fully employed.
Yeah.
Probably working remotely too, like the rest of us. But
yeah.
So I've got some common questions that have been asked. I think we've asked some of these of you, and then I've heard other people ask us about it. And we thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to do a video since it's such a timely topic. So I'm just going to run through some questions, and maybe you can give us some insight on each of them. So one of the questions is, what do business owners need to know before sending workers to work from home in terms of technology?
Well, the biggest thing is that most important thing is for business owners to understand the technology footprint. What is the technology footprint? It is basically the technology that you use in your everyday business. Computers, laptops, you have servers, do you have some cloud-based applications? Do you have applications that are local? What kind of phone system do you have? Is it a digital? Is it voice over IP? Faxing, everyone has faxing. Is there a need for secure faxing? Do you have a need for secure email? All those things is something that a business owner needs to know before they start deploying their employees to work from home.
Okay. It seems like things have changed recently. I remember just, it was 2.5 years ago, I think, we came to you and said, Howard, I know we've had a server and we keep on updating it every 5 years, but should we be looking at something in case we have to work remotely? And you suggested a couple of great options. We ended up going with 365. And kind of went to the cloud, which at that time we were a little leery of, but boy, it really came in handy in this scenario. Can you talk a little bit about that and what's that process getting people into the cloud or using
Well, the
365?
first thing is really you want to talk to an IT consultant, an IT company like ourselves, basically to review your infrastructure. Not all companies can go to the cloud. There are a variety of options. You can, there are some small companies like yourself, you can go 365. Your applications are all web-based, so it was an easy solution, easy implementation. There are other companies that have applications that can run only locally on their servers and on their computers. That's a different kind of solution. But we have enough experience in this field, so we can go in and take a look and make some recommendations. Or if if the businesses have an existing IT person or an IT vendor, they really should consult with them to provide them some options.
Well, it was interesting. I think we chose this option because a server was running, $5,000 to $7,000, $8,000 plus installation, and they would typically last 5, 6, 7 years. I think we got out of the best one. But this option really allowed us to not have to put that capital expenditure out there and just move to a monthly low fixed cost, which for us, helped our budget. So it was a good option, and I imagine people might be interested in that. Again, we're employees, office of 6, so we know from our membership, the vast majority of our companies have fewer than 10.
Right.
So that seems like something that people could talk with you about. So what should someone do now, short term, to get employees working from home during this pandemic? If they're just kind of home now, they're home for a week, they thought they were going to be back to work possibly by April 1st, and now the governor's saying May 4th, and now they're like, oh great, now I'm home, what do I do? Can I call Howard and get a solution?
So, yeah, well, they certainly can call Wright Technology Group. We would be glad to help them and give them some options. What I recommend is not making any rash decisions and changing your technology footprint. You never make these kinds of decisions in a crisis. You kind of just do the bare minimum to get by, to give your employees access. So some of the free things that we can do really is, there's, log me in, there's go to my PC, there's Jump Disk, there's TeamViewer. A lot of these vendors are offering free services or services free for 6 months before they have you sign up. Those are quick ways to get in, to connect remotely from home to the office computer. This, of course, assumes that employees, which most employees have computers at home, so that way they can connect and continue functioning. The other thing that we would have you consider or look at is the type of phone systems. So if you have an old-fashioned phone system, a Nortel, an old digital phone system, your best option at that point is, have a cell phone, call in, take your messages, call customers, vendors from your cell phone. One of the things you can do is do the *67 before you call out, so you're not giving out your cell phone number to the world. If you have a newer phone system, voice over IP, or you could, there are a couple other options. One is twinning, which means that the phone calls can be forwarded to your cell phone. It's a nice option, but it's not perfect.
Yeah.
The other option is, depending on your phone system, you could have a soft phone. What a soft phone is an application that sits on your computer that accepts your phone calls coming in. You would need a headset. You'd be able to pick up the phone and make, and talk to someone, and you would be able to dial up from your computer, workstation, laptop, as though you were sitting in the office.
So it sounds like,
one of the,
I was just saying, it sounds like in both those examples, it's as if you're sitting in the office.
yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, does it matter if you're on the old server type, if you have an internal server? Sounds like these free software options that are being offered through this pandemic from companies that have this technology for 6 months, free for 6 months, that they work even if you have a server on site at your office. Is that right?
Yes. Typically, the end user would dial into the computer. They would connect to the computers. They're sitting right in front of it. You can use all your application, whether it be a Timberline, a Jonas, QuickBooks, whatever package it is. You could print locally. You should be able to print from home. And that way it allows you to function. It gives you the bare minimum to function while you're out of the office.
Okay.
And so once this crisis is over, really what we recommend is to start considering a long-term solution, assuming that, employees will need to work from home from time to time. Setting yourself up and looking at options for the long term really is the best way to go.
And so is this true for both for-profit and nonprofit, that this solution is possible?
Oh, absolutely. We have a large nonprofit that we actually set up on Office 365, SharePoint, Azure Active Directory. But basically, all they did was pick up their computers when they went home, and they're working from home. And
Okay.
it's working.
You just bring up another great point is, a lot of folks have, one or two laptops or iPads available in the office, but now they've got 4 or 5 or 6 people out in the field. Are you able to set up a new computer, or order one and set it up and have them pick it up without compromising social, space issues?
It depends on their environment. Yes, we can set them up remotely. One of the things that we would recommend in terms of thinking about a solution and thinking about remote workers is really part of the long-term plan. Looking at one of the things we recommend is, I see is the death of the desktop computer. I really think that most users should be using laptops. That gives them the flexibility to be in the office or to work out of the office, independent. I mean, there are other products. There are products like Microsoft Surface, the variety of Dell, Lenovo laptops that give you the ability to be flexible and to be portable.
So as small companies are replacing desktops, that they might look at replacing them with laptops because it gives them maximum flexibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the newer laptops are really robust, with the new solid state drives. Those are very fast. The computers spin up very fast. The memory, they perform as well as the workstations.
That's great. So my next question is, how will working remotely affect productivity in your experience and the clients that you've worked with?
So a lot of our clients are actually working from home. It has mixed results. Some employees like it and some don't. They go home thinking it's a wonderful thing. They get home, they have distractions from kids and, just whatever's going around the house. And they're like, when can we get back to the office? Yeah. Other employees like that interaction, with the teammates, and they're more accustomed to that environment. So we're seeing some mixed. What you do to bridge that is use products like Zoom, Microsoft Teams. These are communication tools that allow you to have like a team meeting so you can visually see, your other team members and you still feel connected. We at Wright Technology Group, we use Teams on a regular basis. And it's one of the main ways we communicate with each other during the day. If we want to have a quick meeting, it's easy to set up. Everyone's online and it works really well.
And did you say that's a Microsoft product?
Microsoft. 365? Yeah, it's part of the 365 suite. Depending on the version you get, yes, it is available.
Oh, that's interesting. We have the 365 and we're using Zoom today, so I'm not sure we were aware of that. That's good information.
It's best for internal teams.
Okay.
For internal meetings. But the Zoom is great for, presentations with vendors and things like this, like what you're doing for, presentations for the members.
Okay, great. So what do businesses need to plan for long-term strategy of remote work?
Long-term, really what you really need to think is, again, understanding your footprint, what you have for an infrastructure. Some businesses are going to be, the larger ones are going to have, well, let me kind of show you let me show you what we're looking at just to give a better understanding.
Wow, look at that.
Look at this. We got a full PowerPoint presentation ready.
That's amazing. I can see that and I can see you at the same time and very clear.
So what we have, a lot of businesses, just to kind of overview, most businesses, small businesses would have a server or two, depending on the environment, what they're running. They based on whether you're an accounting firm, construction, HVAC, it all varies. But generally speaking, smaller businesses would have a server on house running their applications. So you really need to have an understanding. Yeah, you need to understand the kind of phone system you have, things like that. Printers, all these things factor in whether any of these products can be moved to the cloud or not. We just working with a new client, and they're in the process of moving to Office 365, and their main application that they use that's going to be in the process of moving to the cloud. They're going to go all laptops. That way they can either work in the office or work outside the office. And it gives them a lot of flexibility. The phone system, they're small enough that they could consider using Verizon cell phones. And you can set up a Verizon cell phone with an auto attendant, and every extension is a cell phone off that extension.
That's amazing. In that instance, you don't really need to have a phone system installed, right?
Correct. Wow. We use at Wright Technology Group. We all have cell phones. We don't have an on-premise phone system. You call our main number, You hit auto attended, you press one, you reach me, or you can press one of the other extensions to reach one of my technicians.
Wow, that's remarkable. So you were ready to go in this situation, and it seems like you already had everything in place.
Oh, yes, yes. Yep.
So tell
Well,
me, what do businesses need to plan for in a long-term strategy?
well, part of this strategy, again, is understanding your footprint. Larger companies are going to have more servers. They may have a terminal server.
Okay.
It's understanding your software, what can be put in the cloud, what can't be put in the cloud. One of the options that you could look at is, larger businesses will have something called a terminal server, where employees will go home. They'll log into the terminal server through a VPN connection, VPN being virtual private network. It's a secure way to connect to your network so you can continue working, accessing the applications that you need. The other option, obviously, is if you're really small, you could go with, there's another option with Citrix, terminal server or Citrix server. The other option is some companies are looking at putting their whole infrastructure in a data center.
Wow.
We at Wright Technology Group have a data center. We have a few clients that are living in our data center. So they connect with a laptop directly through a secure VPN connection to their servers, and they function as though they're in the office. Whether they're in the office or at home, it's the same environment. So the other thing we look at is, can they go to Office 365? Can they go to SharePoint? Again, that you would work with an IT vendor to do the analysis. There would be some sort of cost-benefit analysis associated with that. So the business owners can see, what kind of savings they will realize by moving to the cloud. The other thing is hardware. We talked about, I see the death of the workstations. I think for the most part, it makes sense to go to laptops. There may be some few exceptions, but most cases, laptops, in my opinion, are the way to go. Gives you the flexibility that you need. Again, looking at phone systems, give you my pretty, you're looking at phone systems, whether it be what you have, a digital, hosted, VoIP. The other thing that's important is faxing. Healthcare, financial firms, if you want to be able to have the flexibility to work remotely, eFax is a nice solution. If you're dealing with financial information, HIPAA information, you're going to need secure faxing. That gives you the ability to receive faxes through a web page. You don't have to be sitting in front of a fax machine. It comes to you through an email or through a secure website. And it works really well. We just implemented this for one of our clients who's working from home, and they're using the secure faxing because they get a lot of information that has private information, a lot of faxes. Again, communication, Teams, Slack, or Zoom, these are the analysis that you need to go through in order to figure out which is the best long-term solution for a company.
Great. That's a wonderful collection of resources and options for small businesses. So one of the questions we get is, okay, we're working from home because we have to. What about security? Are we jeopardizing any of our privacy or security in working remotely, or is that something that you can address?
Security is huge. Security is going to become more important while you're working remotely. One of the things that there is some basic assumptions here that most businesses have some basic security already implemented. They have a firewall. The firewall is up to date. It's current. It's updated on a regular basis. It has some sort of security gateway suite in it. You always hear, the experts, including my company, talk about security in layers. That security in layers is really the best approach. So having a firewall in place is one thing. The other thing is really having, antivirus. We call it the next gen antivirus, which is like a product like Silence. Sentinel-1 is another product. We also, the other thing that becomes important is making sure that your systems are up to date. If you have a server, the operating system, workstations, any of your applications that are used. And more importantly, the most important thing is that you have a very good backup that you can recover quickly from.
Okay.
The other thing we talk about that for the larger companies, really you want your employees to access your network through a secure VPN. That becomes important, especially if you have servers on premise. The other thing we do is if you're going to be implementing remote access, we recommend enforcing complex passwords. The other thing that we also recommend.
What does that mean?
Complex passwords. So like you couldn't use password, you couldn't use Johnny One. Basically, it requires uppercase, lowercase,
Okay.
a special character. It has to be 8 characters long at a minimum. That way, that helps for security and layers.
I see.
The other thing we do for a lot of our clients is we implement something called MFA, TFA. MFA is multi-factor authentication. TFA is two-factor authentication. Basically, the way it works in its simplest form is you log into your web-based application. It'll send you a text to your cell phone, and you enter that text, that code into the web page after you log in. So that way they know it's you, and then it's an added layer of security. We at Wright Technology Group, all the applications we use require multi-factor authentication. So all our techs, whatever tools they use, they're required to use or enter the MFA code that comes to them on a daily basis. The other thing I'm sorry?
That's terrific. I mean, it gives you some real layers of security to protect your employees and the data and what you're working on.
And our clients, it's really about protecting our clients. It's really, that's why we do what we do. It makes sense. The other thing we recommend for businesses is to make sure their employees are using secure Wi-Fi. So don't go to Starbucks and use their Wi-Fi. Don't go to Dunkin' Donuts. Don't go to Mickey D's. You want to go don't use it at the airport. You want to use a Wi-Fi that has a password in it. Again, a complex password. Even the Wi-Fi's at the home should have passwords, because that's going to be a source of vulnerability. The other thing that businesses need to do in conjunction with a company like us is security awareness, training your employees on a regular basis. Perfect example, there's a law firm in the UK, in England. They sent out a notice to their attorneys to make sure Google Home and the Amazon Alexa are turned off while they're working, because those products will record all their conversations. So that way you're protecting your client information. So those are one of the things that we see. We get these emails on a regular basis, we review them, and we distribute them to our client base. The other thing that's out there is the COVID-19 fraud. There's a lot of fraud, phishing, phishing emails, bad websites, just hackers, phone calls trying to get your personal information. Those you have to look at with a very critical eye, realizing a lot of it is bogus. And again, the applications that you use, we're using Zoom. Zoom was in the news this morning on one of the websites about how they're being hacked right now. And there's steps that you can do to ensure that it's more secure. They are working on it. They're very proactive at working on it. But it just shows you, as when you're working from home, all these products aren't necessarily secure out of the box. It's kind of it changes over time as these vulnerabilities are made aware of.
This is great information and really helpful and very timely. I know your Wright Technology Group is an essential business, and the governor is allowing you to continue to operate to keep businesses up and running. So I can see from your the view you have there that it looks like you're at work.
I am in the office. I'm the only one in the office. We're practicing social distancing. My guys actually like it, so they don't have to see me as much. So
how can people reach you if they have additional questions or they want to talk with you about a proposal?
Questions, they can give me a call, 617-512-0807. That's my cell phone. That'll be the quickest way to go.
What's that again?
617-512-0807.
Perfect. And what's your website?
WTGtech.com.
Okay, terrific. That's great, Howard. We really appreciate you giving us an update on what businesses can do to pivot into remote work, given this situation, and still be productive and position themselves well for recovery when we all get back to full swing. I do want to thank Lexi put this all together today. And of course, I want to thank Howard Wright of Wright Technology Group, based in Brockton. Howard, I know, just personally, I know you're from the area, right? You live in West Bridgewater, is it?
Yep, I grew up in Brockton. I'm a Brocktonian at heart. I moved next town over, and when I started my business, I came back to Brockton.
That's terrific. We're glad you did, and we're glad that you're our IT provider at the Chamber, so highly recommend you. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the office next time we can get in there.
We'll see you, Chris. I'll be watching it out for you.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, bye now.